Hello, everybody. This is chapter 16, one of my favorites. I say that about all of them, but this one is also very interesting. It's a continuation of chapter 15, which talked about music structures, specifically the period, and gave us 8 different templates of how periods might be organized. If you remember, a period was 4 bars of a first phrase and 4 bars of the second phrase for a total of 8 bars, and they're connected in a very strong way. So we're going to describe and discuss some other structures today based upon building on that topic. So here we go. All right, so this first one that we're going to discuss is a musical structure called a sentence. Maybe some of you have noticed that we use grammatical terms in music that come from patterns of speech, periods, sentences, phrases, things like that. That's taken right from like your English classes in high school when you were discussing the makeup of how we construct sentences and things like that. And the reason is because composers, especially 300 or 400 years ago, actually composed their music based upon grammatical structures of speech. Now, I'm pretty sure I've done this to you in class before, but I've taught you this little thing that is what we call a sentence structure, and it's analogous to a parent calling their child, Johnny, time to come home now. First time simple statement, totally ignored by the kid. So then the parent gets a little more intense. Johnny, you need to come in now. So the second time is more intense. And the way you do that in music is maybe make the pitch higher or the volume louder or something like that. But you're still being ignored. So then the last time, oh boy, if your parent had to call you 3 times, you knew you were in trouble. Johnny, I mean it. Get in here right now or you will be grounded for life. The third time, the parent is really annoyed, and this final reply is even more intense and is also twice as long. So that, my friends, is what sentence structure is. So in parenting techniques, you might find this tip handy in a few years. It is the structure and cadence of speech specifically demonstrated on the previous slide. In algebraic or mathematical terms, we would maybe say x for a specified length plus another of the same length plus a segment twice as long, or a proportionality of 1 to 1 to 2. Now, the first time I went through this chapter, I sort of missed this part, but we've already talked about period structures, and yes, sentence structure is different than period structures, but you can map out a sentence structure, superimpose it on top of a period structure, and it works because periods are 8 bars, and you can divide up 8 bars in 2 plus 2 plus 4 quite easily. So you can have a sentence structure on top of a period. And so I'm showing you this down here. We've got the beautiful arcs of the 8-bar period with a 4-bar phrase and a 4-bar phrase. In this example, the 4 bars are divided up into 2 plus 2 bars, and this last section here is twice as long as 4 bars. Now, we show periodic structure with the arcs, but we show sentence structure with these ligatures underneath like that. That's how you would make a chart in that sort of form. And it still leaves you where you can put A prime, or A, B for the melody, if depending on if it's the same or different, etc. So that's how you would put a sentence structure on top of a period. So enough of talking about what it looks like. Let's hear what it sounds like. So Laitz has picked a familiar song, My Darling Clementine. Let's see, what key should I put it in? Okay, y'all sing with me. Ready, go. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, I love you, oh, I love you, oh, I love you, Clementine. I had to make up some words for the second half so it would fit the pre-made diagram because I still haven't figured out how to use a pencil tool to draw my own diagrams yet. So these aren't really the words, but I put them in there so it would be A prime, again on the other side. So this is an example of a period with a sentence structure in the first 4 bars and another sentence structure in the second 4 bars. Now it says, we're on page 394 in your textbook. It says, listen to example 16.1. This phrase, take a look at it down here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you got rest in bar 2, rest in bar 4, and a rest in bar 8. And if you saw nothing else except for that rest, which indicates like a silence there, kind of like a section, then you could see it divides itself up into 2 bars, plus 2 bars, plus 4. Laitz says, we see here in this example, this is by Beethoven. Actually, almost everything in this whole chapter is by Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven, classical composers during that time period not just in music, but also in architecture and other kinds of arts. Even the way you might decorate your homes or whatever, they liked cleaner classical structures, and they harken back to ancient Greece with the proportionality of the pillars and the triangle shapes for the roofs and things like that. And so classical composers wrote these clean kinds of structures many times. So he says you can see how Beethoven here creates a proportional additive structure in which a two-measure musical idea is stated. This is the A. Then restated with A prime. And then embellished and extended. Predominant, dominant, tonic. The two-measure subphrases become, in a sense, an integral part of the consequent unit. So again, here's the antecedent phrase, the first 4 bars. Here's the consequent phrase. And maybe just because of room, I guess it doesn't matter where you put the ligatures. Usually Laitz puts them on the bottom, but here he's put them on the top. Here's 2 plus 2 plus 4. And is this a period? Yes or no? Well, let's check and see. 5, 6, extended back to 1. This is an IAC because of me on the top. Ends on a strong PIC. Is that a period? Yes. Now you can argue, is it a where the melody is different? How many brain freeze here? Parallel and contrasting. There we go. Contrasting period with the melody, or is it parallel? In other words, is the melody here the same as over here? I don't think it is, so I would call it a contrasting sectional period because of that interior there. But it is a contrasting sectional period in sentence structure. Now he says, here's another one. This is also by Beethoven. All the pianists in the class will definitely know this piece. It's the very first Beethoven sonata that people usually learn because it's the first one. So it says, this 8-measure excerpt comprises a single phrase that closes with a half cadence. Okay, so start on the 1 chord here. We go out to here on a 5, 6, 5. That's a back relating, wait a minute. That's a back relating dominant. And because it restarts right here with the 1, and then it kind of proceeds with tonic expansion up to predominant, half cadence dominant. So here we go. Ooh, that's kind of in your face. Beethoven was like, I am in your face on this one. He says, examine the harmonic rhythm. That's the rate of change of chords. So we have the 1 chord is 2 bars. And the 5, 6, 5 is also 2 bars. Now the harmonic rhythm gets faster here. So 1 bar of 1, 1 bar of 7, and now there's 2 chords per bar. So the harmonic rhythm increased, the rate of change of the harmony increased in the second half. Now, here's the sentence. There's the A, capital A. Here's A prime. Okay. B. Well, that works so far. Okay, good enough. So there is a big sentence there. And then in the next slide here, Laitz is showing you how the harmonic rhythm speeds up from extended for 2 bars to extended for 1 bar, and then 2 chords here, cadencing on half cadence. Now, can you find another sentence lurking somewhere in this excerpt? Because not only can you have a sentence at the big level of structure, you can actually have what we call nested or embedded sentences, one structure down. See if you can find a place where it might do that. Okay, listen one more time. Is there any place in here where it would be the proportions of 1 to 1 to 2? Well, yes, there is. It's right here. Check it out. It's right here. Ba-dum, da-da-da, A. Ba-dum, da-da-da, A prime, and B. Dum, da-da-da-da, ba-dum. Now, this is called a nested sentence. A nesting of sentences is reflected in the diagram when nested structures occur within both A and B. If, for example, this is the first 4 bars, and here's the second 4 bars, and we do have the sentence here, ba-dum, da-da-dum, ba-dum, da-da-dum, dun, da-da-da-da-da-da. So we're just using small a and b because they haven't been used before. But let's say, just for the sake of the argument, that it would have happened over here. Then this would have been small a prime, and small b. And then you have to start over with letters you haven't used before if it's a different sentence. Small c prime, and small d. That's all he's saying there. But anyway, there you go. There's your a, there's your a prime, and your b. Wow. Now, there are different kinds of ways to structure a sentence in terms of how many bars it is. Now, we've seen ones that are 8 bars long. Well, we just saw one in the second half of the Beethoven Sonata that was 4 bars long. That's the same length as this one. Now, this one is actually not a period, it's only a phrase. So you can also put sentence structure over the top of a phrase, and it works. Okay, so here we go. Here's the big A. More intense. B. Now, why is that not a period? It's because it ended on a half cadence here. That's the 5 chord, which is the decorations, okay? So listen one more time from the beginning. Here's the A. A prime. B. Twice as long. Half cadence. 2, 3. That's a cool piece. All right, let's look at another one. These 8 bars by Mozart are also in a sentence structure. So unlike the high note we just saw in the previous slide, that was a phrase because it was only 4 bars and ended on half cadence. This example is not a phrase in sentence structure like the last one. This is a period in sentence structure. I'm just going to play the piano part. You see the violin part up here on the treble clef, and then here's the piano. So it's a violin and piano sonata. I'm just going to play the piano part, but you can even see it before you hear it. Da 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 dum bum bum. Same thing. Da 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 dum bum bum. It's just a little bit different how it ends here in that part. So here's your A, 2 bars, your A prime, 2 bars, and the big B right there. Okay, let's listen to it once and just listen for the large scale. Capital A prime, capital B. 1, 2, 3. A prime, B. Now just take a look at the B section. We've got a small sentence down here, a baby A prime, and a baby B. Okay, so listen to the B section. Here we go. There's baby A prime, and baby B. So there's your nested sentence. Here's another Mozart. This one is a piano sonata. So it says, given that phrases are often fashioned into sentences, it follows that periods also draw on sentence construction. So listen to this one. And before I play it, we're just going to look at the diagram. Okay, here's bars 1 to 4, 5 to 8. Oh, it's got a sentence in bars 1 to 4 and another one in 5 to 8. Now they're marked off here. Here's the A. Here's A prime and B. And then A prime, and B. Here's what it sounds like. Starts on a pickup. 1, 2. Half cadence. So this time, everybody sing the melody in your own range, okay? 1, 2. You can see and hear the sentences in both halves of that period, but now I want you to tell me, what kind of a period is this? Well, let's look for the cadence first. It's a 5, right? Okay, and then does it restart? It's just an ornamented version of this. So I think this is a pip, parallel interrupted period. So this is just an ornamented version of the first half, just, recast a little bit. But that's definitely so close to that. So that's a pip, right? And then it ends on a PAC. All right, let's look at another one. Here is a period composed of a single sentence. Now, he's not telling you what kind of a period it is. The downbeat of the last bar is where we're going to end. The rest of these notes are pickups into the next bar. So we're going to play it, and you have to figure out what kind of a period is this. And here's the sentence. You can see da 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 da, pause. Dun 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 dun, pause. 2 plus 2 plus 4. Here we go. Pick a part you want to sing. 1, 2, 3. So that was your A and your A prime. Here comes B. 1, 2, 3. So we can hear the sentence structure there. Now, what kind of a period is it? You tell me. There's A. Okay, so we just cadenced in F minor and we started in E flat major, so that's not a 5 chord. It's going to continue on. Here's our 5, 7, 2, 1. So when that cadence in bar 4 is not a half cadence, but a cadence is somewhere else, that is a continuous period. Now tell me about the melody. Is this the same as that? It's the same rhythm, but it's not the same. I don't know. I personally would say it's a contrasting continuous period. If you argued that for the melodies being similar, I could take that too if you made a good argument. Okay, here we go. Oh, this one's mind-blowing. This is the exercise interlude. We're going to go over this one together. This is a sample that he gave. It says, do not analyze these with Roman numerals. Just draw the diagram. It's because we have some applied dominants in here that we haven't talked about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so they've got big A marked for you. A prime and B. So that's our big level. 2 plus 2 plus 4. Now we've also got, this is so cool. There are 3 layers of nesting in this example. Let's go to the mid level. Look for some place where it goes 1 plus 1 plus 2. Well, that would be right here. 1 bar plus 1 bar plus 2. So it's this part. Here's your A prime, B. Now, here's the small level. Look right here. 1 plus 1 equals 2. Or they've got it half bar plus half bar equals 1 bar, but it still preserves the proportions of 1 to 1 to 2. So here's baby A prime, B, A prime, B. Wow, 3 layers of nesting. Wow, that multi-level nesting was mind-blowing. Wow, good old Beethoven. Now, let's see if we can blow your mind some more. You get to figure this one out all by yourself. Now, first of all, you need to identify whether it is a phrase or a period. That's your first job. So then if it's a period, then you draw the diagram of the period or draw the diagram of the phrase, put all that stuff in there. When you're done with that, then you look for sentence structure, and the answer is on the next slide. So no fair peeking, but I am going to play it for you so you can hear it first. So this piece was, I know it pretty well because when I was in college, my roommate was a violinist and she was the concert mistress. And I used to play for her all the time, and she actually played this for concerto night. So first of all, you need to count the bars up. Go ahead and do that. Now look for the cadence in bar 4 and the cadence in bar 8. 1, 2. What kind of cadence is that? Going on. All right, so I want you to stop the tape here and the recording here. That really dates me. And figure this all out by yourself before you go on to the next slide. Don't turn it back on until you've got it all figured out. Okay, we're back. Answer, it's a pip, but it's got repeated sentences in it. So I made this diagram down here. The reason I said it's a pip is because look at the harmony. Dun 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 dun. 5 and 2 6 and dun 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 dun. Half cadence. It restarts. Now this 5. If we would have put the level 2A, that would have been a back relating dominant because it restarts. Dun 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 dun. Now we have complete phrase model 2 5 1. Antecedent phrase, consequent phrase. Hopefully your diagram looks a lot like this. Going on. How about this one? Let's go through the same steps. So we're going to identify whether it's a phrase or a period. Then draw your diagram. You have to look at the cadential thing first in bar 4 and then the cadential stuff in bar 8. Label everything on the periodic model first. When you're done with that, then go back and look for sentence structure. Let's hear it. Now, here for all you non-pianists out there, these tails are pointing down and these on top are pointing up and they've got this M period, S period thing. Most of the time in music, we would use Italian terms as the default, but this happens to be Latin, and it's talking about which hand to use. So manus is your hand, and MD, manus dexter, would be your right hand, but this is MS, manus sinister. And they used to, in the Middle Ages, they were very superstitious, and they believed that left-handed people were possessed of the devil. So I'm going to use my manus sinister hand to cross over on that note. None of you can see that, but that's what the instructions are saying. Here we go. Okay, pick your part you want to sing. The melody is actually here in the mid range there, it's like a nice alto part. Ready, set, go. Just add a D there at the end. No fair peeking. Stop the tape right here and work it out on your own. Then go to the next slide. Okay, it's another pip. Let's figure out why. So we've got A prime. Now it's a 5 and it restarts with a minor 6/4. Now it doesn't actually have a bass note in there, but we're going to say that one is implied. The bass note actually got flipped to the top right here. So we'll count that as a PAC. So your level 1, you had a 1 chord, and then 5/6/4 back to 1, and a half cadence right here, and then back to 1, and then a very special minor mode version of the 5, and then cadential 6/4 to 5 to 1. Okay. Hope you're doing well so far. Let's try another one. One more. We're going to go through the same exact steps. It's just like learning how to do math. You just need to follow some steps at first, and eventually when you get good at it, you can take a few shortcuts. But for right now, follow the steps. Identify whether it's a phrase or a period, then draw your diagram. So let's listen to this thing. First of all, let's count out our bars. You don't count the pickup bar. Start on the first full downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Pick the part you want to sing, either the melody or the bass line down there. Okay, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. it out on your own and turn to the next slide to see if you did it correctly. Wow, it's yet another pip. Now, statistically speaking, in my experience with actually being a geek and counting up all the different kinds of periods in chapters 15 and 16, I think 85% or more are actually pips. So if you guess pip, statistically, you're going to be guessing correctly most of the time. All right, so here we go. We see here's A. Well, first of all, we need to figure out what period it is. So, not quite to bar 4 yet. That's like a 5, 6, 5. Okay, going. So this keeps going back to the 1 there until finally here. We haven't learned about this yet. Oh, shoot. It's not showing on my diagram. I covered it up. I'll have to unbury that. But this is called a Neapolitan chord. It's a G flat in first inversion. So we call it a Neapolitan 6, for meaning first inversion chord. It comes from Naples. They had a great opera house there, and they used to like that sound. And then I would cadence off. And someone would die by snake bite. We haven't learned about that yet, but it functions the same as a predominant. And so down here I called it a flat 6, and that's your predominant. And again, on these, you don't have to put in any of the analysis. That's why he said you didn't have to. But I just put it in so you could see. So we've got back relating dominant right here in A. Now we're going right to the A prime next door. Sorry, I can't move my mouse. There we go. Okay, now here's the 1 chord. There we go. There's your Neapolitan, your cadential 6, 4, 5, 7 to 1. Oh, I see a boo-boo. That should be a small case 1. I'm pretty sure I put in the small case 1, but the spell checker kept correcting it to capital 1. Let's go on to this one. So if we're feeling pretty good about sentences at this point, we're going to introduce another new structure. So I just gave the answer away because I wasn't in presenter mode, but here's the ones we learned so far. Phrases, you're good with those. Periods, all 8 models, you're pros at those now. Sentences, and now we have the new one. This is called the double period. So just like periods and sentences, the double period is also based upon symmetrical proportions, but instead of being 4 plus 4 equals 8, this one's going to be 8 plus 8 equals 16. So here we go. If you counted up all these bars, don't start here. That's a pickup bar. But if you start here and you count them all, there would be 16 bars there. So this is another Beethoven sonata. It says the first 16 measures contain 4 distinct cadences, but they don't truly comprise 2 periods. We're going to listen to it first. Now, I've got some multi-level analysis on here with colors. So the red one is the first 8 bars is the antecedent, big phrase. And the last 8 bars marked by this, here's the big thing that goes right to there. Here's the second one. That would be the consequent phrase, okay? That's the big level. Now, I have green and orange stars too, and I'm trying to figure out which one is which. The next level down would be 4 plus 4, so that would be the green. 4 bars plus 4 bars, 4 bars plus 4 bars. Let's just hear it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's your antecedent phrase, the red one. Here's the consequent. You had a big antecedent phrase which had a half cadence in bar 8, and then the consequent phrase, which is bars 9 to 16, and had a strong PAC at the end. Okay, so that's 8 plus 8. But now we're going to divide the thing up into 4 plus 4 for the first half, and then 4 plus 4 for the second half. And in the first 8 bars, we have an antecedent green and a consequent green, 4 plus 4. Okay, so here we go. This is your antecedent second level. Okay, there's 4 bars. And because we just landed on a half cadence, it does not sound finished, but that was 4 plus 4. Now the next 4 bars. This would be 9 to 12. Antecedent. And the answer, the consequent, 13 to 16. He's got a picture of it down here. So here's bars 1 to 4 and half cadence in bar 4, which let's see if it does. 1, 2, 3, 4. It sure does. There's a 5 chord. Okay. Then bars 5 starts on actually a 4 chord, but it also cadences on a half cadence right here. Then bars 9 to 12 starts on 1, half cadences in bar 12. Let's see if it does. Yep. And then starts in a 4/6 chord, and finally PACs at the end. Okay, so that is what we just went through as our baby A, baby B because the melody is different, baby A prime because it's similar to A, and baby B prime because it's similar to B. And that's your smaller level. And your larger melody is the first 8 bars and A prime for the second 8 bars. Now, do you agree with this level right here? Here's A. Whoa. Okay, now let's go down to this one. This is in bar 9. It's disornamented. So I agree with that. So we've got big antecedent consequent with 2 embedded antecedent consequent stuff. That, my friends, is a double period. And what you're looking for is in bar 8, a half cadence, and in bar 16, a PAC. That's the gist of it. Okay, again, so in a 16 bar double period, dang it, you're looking for bar 8 to be a half cadence and bar 16 to be a PAC. Okay, now for this. Now, I have what my friends in high school used to call a symmetry fetish. I like things to be straight and symmetrical and all that kind of stuff. And so both of these cars would drive me absolutely bonkers because they're not symmetrical looking. So now we're going to be looking at, I call them the mutants of form here. These are called modified periods because they don't have the same kind of symmetry as the other ones. But at the same time, because of their harmonic structures, they really sound like periods. So let's see what we're looking at here. Okay, so here's the modified period type number 1. And you're going to look at the letters down here. We got an A section, we have a B, and then this B repeats again. So this is an example of an AAB. Oh, no, sorry, this is an ABB. But either one of those would be a modified period. Okay, so I used to know how to play this. It's really rusty. 1 and 2. That was A. Here's B. An echo of B. Okay, so it's like the B section got repeated again like an echo. It's not really an echo in the terms that it's soft or anything like that, but it's just repeating the B section. So pick the part you want to sing. 1 and 2. So that would be your AAB modified period. That's the type number 1. He's going to show you 2 more types, okay? Here's type number 2. This has an A section. It's got some filler material in the middle, which he calls just an extension. It's just like treading water there. You're not really going anywhere. And then a B section at the end. So it's A, filler material, B. Now, y'all can pick the part you want to sing on here. Okay? Now, he says bars 1 to 4 barely of Silent Night barely qualifies as a phrase because it only alternates between the 1 and the 5 chord. And you're still on 1 chord. 5 chord. 5/7. Back to 1. Okay, now the next 4 bars are going to just alternate between 4-1, 4-1. So here's 4 chord, 1 chord. We're not progressing harmonically to a cadence. We could sit here all day. It's not really going anywhere. Now finally it's going to go 5, 5, 7 to 1. And cadential 6, 4, 5, 5, 7 to 1. Finally, we have a strong cadence at the end that brings closure to this entire piece. So that's type 2 of the mutant variants on this kind of structure stuff. You got an A section, filler material extension in the middle, and then a B section. All right, here's the last modified type, number 3. I should have proofread this better. This is not correct. Sorry, guys, but I don't want to stop the tape. It's supposed to be A, B, C. Super sorry about that. I'll fix it as soon as I'm done, but this is not correct. It's supposed to be A, B, C. In other words, you have 3 separate segments of stuff. But the final cadence is a PAC. These 2 inner ones are still half cadences. This is actually, you see it's by Haydn. It's called The Emperor. He wrote it for the Emperor of the Austro-Hungarian or the Holy Roman Empire, whichever name it was back in his day. Currently, I've heard it played at the Olympics as the Austrian national anthem because Vienna was the seat of the Holy Roman Empire and the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. And so Vienna is still the seat of Austria. But I've also heard it as a hymn rearranged starting on beat 1. But really the original here starts as pickups. You'll see what I mean. Here you go. 1. Sing along. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2. 4, 1, 2. A again. Here comes letter B. Okay, here comes C. And repeating C again. So actually, the form of this one went A repeated, B, C, C repeated. So it had 5 parts. So if you were writing out the correct form of this particular exact example, you'd go A, B, C, C, right? A, B, C, C. I'm so sorry about that boo-boo there. That's going to bother me now forever. Okay, let's go on to the next page. This is your homework. It's the same kind of stuff we just did in a few slides ago. You're going to analyze the following periods. So it says they are periods by providing a formal diagram. Don't worry about their own neural analysis, but you do have to provide the cadence types and the chords for that. So go ahead and write the beginning chord and the cadence chord. Now, you may encounter on top of these periods sentences or double periods or asymmetrical periods. That's for you to figure out, okay? I'm going to play these so you can hear them, but you're on your own for analyzing them, okay? So here's letter A. 1, 2. One more time, sing along. 1, 2, 3. Moving on to 16 point, whatever that was, letter B. Here's Brahms. Listen to it once. It's slow. 1, 2, 3. comes letter C. This one is sprightly and cute. 1, 2. You can hum along this time. 1 and 2 and. This one's really pretty. This is letter D, Tchaikovsky. Now you can either choose to sing the bass line or the melody. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, let's do it again. 1, 2, 3.